Hey, what is up guys? This is Nishi from MST.TV here, back with another Market Watch episode. So I'm recording this episode on Friday. I'm leaving for Europe tomorrow. I don't know when we're going to be putting this episode up, but I did want to discuss a few things with you guys that I noticed trending on the market from this past week. There's a few things that we have to look out for as we approach a very busy next couple of months here. We're going to have everyone still adjusting after the ban list with the competitive format and then Legacy of Destruction as well, but we also have the reveals for the Infinite Forbidden that are coming out from the OCG, and then both Rarity Collection 2 and Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge are dropping in back-to-back months, so we can expect to see a crazy amount of things happening all over the market. Let's get started. Alright, kicking things off, we have Priestess of the Ashen City. So with the reveals for Legacy of Destruction out, we now have all of the details for the second wave of Ashen support. Depending on who you ask, some players think it's horrible, while others seem to think it's at least playable. They seem interesting, but I mostly just want to collect the cards for the artwork. Anyways, with those reveals, it seems that Priestess has started to trend upwards in price. This card is of course a very important card for the deck. It has the standard ability to special summon itself if the Ashened field spell is on the field, but it can also search for any Ashened card from the deck on either normal or special summon. So yeah, even though the deck might not be the best, it's still new cards that players can mess around with, and it'll be brand new territory since the archetype is a TCG exclusive one. The other thing that we can never count out is the fact that we should be getting another Ashened card or two in a core set sometime within the next 6 to 12 months, and as we saw with things like Spiral Double Helix and Subterror Guru, those new cards can sometimes be enough to push a deck completely over the top by themselves. Priestess is historically a relatively cheap card, though its price was a little bit higher than we would have normally seen since Phantom Nightmare was a pretty underwhelming set. The Ultras have historically sat around $5 to $6, they're now up at right around $10 each. And then with the quarter century printing, that's also up a little bit as well. They were around $60 to $70, they're now up at $90 a piece. Obviously now is not the right time to buy the card since the Legacy of Destruction support was just revealed, but keep an eye on the price of this card once the prices have cooled down, and we can hope that the additional cards to support the archetype will make it a lot more viable. On to the next one, we have Timelord Progenitor Vorpgate. Now this is a generic level 10 synchro monster, and for those of you that might be familiar with some older cards, this card is a part of the Timelord archetype. The Timelord cards all have effects that happen when they battle. They're all high level, you can usually normal summon them without tributing, and they can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, and you take no damage from battles involving them. This one is different from the others because it's a synchro, and it has those standard protections, but it has a really cool effect where at the end of the damage step, you activate this card's effect to banish all monsters your opponent controls, and then during the end phase, you special summon those monsters back. So the idea is that this card can be useful against the Yubel deck since you won't take damage and you can clear the board pretty easily with this card. And the other interesting thing is that the effect to bring back monsters during the end phase activates during the end phase. So I believe that if you link off the Vorpgate, the monsters don't come back either. This card is a tech card for some Tenpai Dragon extra decks over in the OCG, so players are looking at using the card now here with Tenpai Dragons coming in Legacy of Destruction. Now very fortunately, this card just got a reprint as a secret rare in Battles of Legend Chapter 1. The reprint has brought the card's price down quite a bit. It used to have just the ultra rare version from a little magazine, which crashed after that reprint, but now has gone back up to the $18 to $20 mark as the original printing of the card. And then the reprint secret rares, they're not too bad. They were at $3 to $4 when they first came out, but they're now up to $10 each as well. This is definitely a cool card to keep an eye on, since I don't think it'll get a reprint anytime soon with that reprint being so recent. If you are looking at playing Tenpai Dragon this format, this is an option that you guys should definitely consider picking up a copy of now before it gets any higher. The next one here's an odd one. It's Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. This is another synchro monster that is a tech card for the Tenpai Dragon extra deck, but this one is a level 7 generic synchro. It does have an effect that's related to pendulums. That's not what the card is being talked about for. Rather, it has a continuous effect that says that monsters in your opponent's possession cannot activate their effects during the battle phase. Now obviously this is another anti-Yubel sort of card, and it's big because it just flat out stops your opponent from activating effects altogether, but unlike Vorpgate, this doesn't actually get rid of the monsters themselves. However, oddly enough, this card is actually a fire dragon as well, so it has a bit more synergy alongside some of the Tenpai Dragon cards. Now with this one, it's just the original ultra rare printing that's going up. This original print was from an old structure deck, and they're now up to around $5 each. Fortunately, the card did get a very accessible reprinting as a common and super rare in the legendary Dragon Dex and then Pendulum Evolution respectively, so it's very easy to find the card if you just need one to play with, and at the very least those rarities will match the rest of the Tenpai Dragon cards. This is a card that we talked about a little while ago. It's Ice Jade Ran Agran, so it is a couple of months away, but in June we have Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge coming out, and in there we're getting the new Ice Barrier support that was revealed over in the OCG. The support is actually pretty good, not top tier or anything probably, but good enough to where the deck can top events and stuff over there. Now, one of the key cards for the deck isn't an Ice Barrier card at all, but it's Ice Jade Ran Agran. This card is a level 7 water tuner that you can summon from your hand by discarding another water, but then it also brings out a level 3 non-tuner token, and you are locked into only summoning water monsters from the extra deck while the token is on the field. Now, from what I've seen and what I've looked at with the Ice Barrier decks over there, this card is run at 3 in most builds, since you can easily cheat out one of the new Ice Barrier synchro monsters, which happens to be a level 10 water. This card used to be pretty cheap, but shot up to around $10 or so when the support was first revealed. However, the card did cool off for a bit, and since then it's fluctuated mostly between the $7 to $9 range. Now, however, the card is up to $13 to $14, and it looks like it might just continue to trend upwards as we get closer to the release of Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge. This is sort of a weird position to be in. This card came from Cyberstorm Access, and we should be expecting the cards from that set to be reprinted in the 2024 tins, which are coming out in September of this year. That means that there's only going to be a 3-month gap between when the Ice Barrier cards come out and when Agran gets reprinted. It's up to you guys and whether you want to wait for the reprint, assuming that the reprint does happen, or if you want to just pick up the card now anyways because you want to play the deck. Depending on how the Ice Barrier deck performs here in the TCG on release, I could see this card shooting up to, say, around $20 pretty soon after, but you'd also have to assume that the card will be difficult to move, with a reprint expected to follow soon after. So one other card we should make note of for Terminal Revenge, it's Ritual Beast Tamer Elder. Now this is of course a key card for the Ritual Beast archetype, granting you an extra normal summon so that you can easily get 2 monsters on the field in order to start off your combos. Interesting thing to note here, I do believe that Tamer Elder works the same way as Evil Swarm Caster, where its effect applies once it hits the field, so you still get the extra normal summon even if you Veiler or Imperm the Elder. So don't use your Veiler or Imperm on this card. The only way this card could get negated is if there was something like a skill drain already face up on the field when you normal summon Elder. Anyways, I think that for the most part, we think of Ritual Beast cards as being pretty cheap. A lot of us probably have Ritual Beast bulk cards if you were playing back in the Necros format. However, a lot of cards have limited availability, or they came out in that set and were just never reprinted. For that reason, Tamer Elder has just the 1 secret rare printing, and being a pretty important card for the deck, it's actually up to around $8 to $10 per copy. I feel like the Ritual Beast cards in general are good ones for you to dig through your bulk for in preparation for the release of Terminal Revenge, since even though the deck may not be the most competitively viable, there's still going to be a ton of players looking to put the deck together in order to try it out. Alright, so this is an interesting one. We're talking about Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. Now on the ban list, we finally have Engage back to 3. I know some players are thinking that this is just absolutely crazy, but the game is a lot different now, and even if you do resolve like Engage into Engage, I don't think that the Sky Striker cards really do so much that it's going to win you the game every time that you do it. Now, to be fair, I hope that there's a way that the cards can still be used as an engine, maybe to supplement Snake Eyes or something, but we're probably never going to see pure Sky Strikers win an event again without some crazy new support. However, I will say that there's a lot of casual players that are really big on the deck. It was pretty disliked back when it was the best deck, and it got really frustrating to play against, but there's a lot of players now that just like playing it because it's more of a rogue option. And of course, Engage is still one of the craziest cards in the game, with an absolutely crazy effect. So with the original art of Engage, that artwork still has several different printings, so we haven't actually seen too much price fluctuation with those versions. However, with this alternate art printing, it only ever came out in Battles of Legend Monstrous Revenge. That set was pretty underwhelming, and honestly, even though it was hot when it first came out, it fell off pretty quickly and a lot of the cards became quite cheap. With alternate art Engage, the secrets were at around $3 or so, but after the ban list, they've now jumped up to $7 to $8 each. With the quarter century printing though, those literally jumped by $100, going from $130 to now being $230 each, which is kind of insane. I do really like this art of Engage though. To be fair, if I were going to play Sky Striker in a Toss Time Wizard tournament, I'd probably want to play with the original artworks. This card is still worth noting though if you maybe have some of these lying around, but you would rather just hold on to the originals, you can consider offloading them while there is some hype behind them. And finally, one last card I want to look at here is Mementotlin Bone Party. So the Memento archetype is kind of a decent one. Obviously, they haven't really done anything meta-wise, but I feel like they've actually gotten several new support cards across a couple of different core sets now. The cool thing is that they're actually getting a new fusion monster in the Infinite Forbidden, which is really insane. It's literally a Foolish Burial for 5 Memento cards on summon. It pops Memento cards and an equal number of cards your opponent controls, and you can also banish it from the graveyard to search for the Memento field spell. So I think that there's a lot of players jumping on that Memento hype train. The other thing to note is that while there's a bunch of sets that will be reprinted in the 2024 tins confirmed, Valiant Smashers isn't on the list of sets to be reprinted, so we might actually have to wait quite a while without a Bone Party reprint. Anyways, when I first started recording this video like an hour ago, Bone Party was at $12, but here I am an hour later and the cheapest near mint Bone Party on TCG Player is literally like $20. So yeah, people are definitely keeping an eye on this card with the reveal of that new fusion monster earlier today. You guys should probably also check out the rest of the Memento cards as well, especially if they keep on getting support. The deck might actually be really scary since they already have some pretty interesting combos available to them. Hopefully you guys already have the core together, but if not, wait for some of this current hype to die down before you look to pick up the core for the future. Alright guys, that is all I have for today's episode. Definitely a ton of things happening with the market. There's just so much going on within the next couple of months that we really have to keep track of. So we should expect to see new market shifts every couple of days or so. So make sure that you guys stay tuned so that you can be up to date with all of these different market fluctuations. Anyways guys, if you did enjoy today's market watch, make sure you let me know. Hit that thumbs up button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment in the comment section down below. And until next time guys, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV.